Welcome back to Breslov campus. Some insights in Parshat Behar. Behar, one of the main themes of the Parsha, is the mitzvah called Shmita. Shmita is the sabbatical year, where the whole year has a reservation, that you're not allowed in this year to deal with the produce of the land like an owner. Rather, everybody's equal. Everybody, the poor person, the wealthy guy, the animals, everybody's equal in eating the produce of the field. And this serves to remind the person that it's Hashem sustaining a person and not the person's own efforts. It's mainly the godly influx, the godly divine providence that runs a person's life. Normally, every Jew goes through this every week. On Shabbat, Shabbat is called the day of rest, where you're not doing anything, and yet the world is revolving, the world is turning. You are eating and drinking and sleeping and enjoying a day where you refrain from work. And that refraining from work is to show and remind a person that it's Hashem that's running the world. Even though we living in a physical world, we're expected to go out and work and earn a living and to make things move in life. But the trick of this situation and the test of this scenario and situation is that whatever a person is doing, he has to constantly remember that Hashem is really the one behind everything. This is my test, that I'm doing activity, making things move in life, but with the realization that if there's no what's called siyata dishmaya, there's no divine involvement, if there's no divine providence, then whatever I do will not succeed. And I shouldn't get fooled into believing, look how much I'm doing, I'm getting accomplished. It's me who's doing, it's me. So this is the test of living in this world, that on one hand you're doing, but you're not really doing. It's really Hashem who's behind all the activity. I'm just a puppet. I'm doing movements and actions and activities, but on condition that it's really Hashem behind everything. Now, because the Holy Land has a higher requirement of people, a higher demand, that people live with this reminder and this attitude constantly, and also the holiness of the Holy Land is built in such a way that if a person really wants to, he can live at this level on a revealed level. Because it's true, everyone deep down inside believes that God is running the world, but as is printed on the $1 American bill, in God we trust, and it's written on the bill. Meaning that most people tend to forget in the diaspora that Hashem is making the money, Hashem is running my life, Hashem is running the world, and not me. It's Hashem doing it. In Chutz La'aretz, in the diaspora outside of the Holy Land, it's much harder to connect to that. Whereas the Holy Land has this special ingredient that living here, a person on a revealed level can live on divine providence. And explains also why we have so many Jews who live here and they don't necessarily have a fixed income, and yet they're living and surviving, although it's a bit more difficult. Like the Gemara says, 3 things are acquired through suffering, and one is the Holy Land. Living here, yes, is difficult, but the gains of experiencing divine providence are much more higher here, much more on a revealed level. And people are willing to give up the comfortable living in the diaspora for the sake of having this taste of divine providence more directly, even though very constricted and meager in the Holy Land. So this is the greatness of the Holy Land. And because of this, the Jews living in the Holy Land have this reminder every 7 years that one whole year is called Shmita. It's a sabbatical year, in that the whole year, not just the actual Shabbat of the 7 days of the week, but even Sunday to Friday, a person is reminded for 1 year that God is in control, God is sustaining, and I have no rulership, no ownership. I cannot harvest and develop the land like any other year, because it's a reminder that God is the one sustaining. I'm going to not do anything, and yet I'm going to survive, I'm going to live. Like the Torah itself says, that Hashem says, "V'tziviti et birchati," that anyone who keeps the Shmita, the sabbatical cycle, Hashem promises that He will make abundant the year afterwards, the 8th year, which is the first year of the new cycle, or also the 6th year, that there will be so much blessing when Hashem sees a person is going to keep the Shmita, for example, that he'll have blessing before and after, because he is keeping this time, showing that he recognizes and respects the admission that Hashem is the one guiding his sustenance, his finances, and nobody else. And because the demand in Eretz Yisrael is at that level, so the Jews in the Holy Land have this mitzvah of keeping the Shmita and the sabbatical year in order to re-drill in the person's head that Hashem is the one sending you your parnasa and not your work, and you're breaking your back and you're killing yourself to bring in food and bread on your table. That's not the actual reality. The real reality is Hashem is the one who's behind this scenario and not you. This was, for example, the main test of many Jews who arrived in America in the early 1900s, where if they didn't work on Shabbat, they had to find a new job already on Sunday. Many Jews failed the test because they couldn't imagine living without, parnasa. If now I'm going to have no money, we're going to starve to death. You had those few Jews whose emunah and Hashem were so strong that they were willing to lose their job and to go to look for another job, maybe to find another new job on Sunday or Monday, but they did not desecrate the Shabbat. And in the end, those families ended up having breakthroughs and seeing children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren still following the Torah. Whereas the many Jews who just dropped the Shabbat because they couldn't handle it, so that was the last of seeing a Jewish home, a religious home. But our message is, Bezat Hashem, to be strong, that Hashem is running our life. This is the attitude Rabbi Nachman teaches that a Jew should take everywhere he is. It's especially true in the Eretz Yisrael, and the sabbatical year reminds us of that mitzvah. But this is the goal, that whatever I'm doing, Hashem is behind it. And I must drill into my head this awareness that it's Hashem behind everything. I'm doing my part, I'm doing my role, but on condition that it's Hashem who's behind all of my activity and is the source and the reason for abundance coming, and not because of my quote-unquote smart investments and smart economical and financial decisions in life.